but it really does seem to be one issue that was dominant last night, and it's that abortion issue, which we've talked about 100 times. Are you at all surprised at how salient that was now more than a year past the Dobbs decision?
Not if you look at every single election that's been held since the Dobbs decision, right? We sit there, we can just talk the two big nights, which were 2022 and 2023, the two Novembers, right. But it's been every other election, right? There have been special elections here. You know, there's small places like county auditors races where it pops up and suddenly it works. You know, part of it is that you do have a group of voters. Republicans have lost a whole bunch of group of normal, regular voters. The shift of college-educated Republicans away from the Republican Party has really hurt the Republican Party's ability to do well in low-turnout elections. Democrats are now dominating more and more in these places, but the abortion issue has become such an important issue to fundraise off of, organize around. I mean, it really is just jet fuel right now for the blue team on this. And I don't know what the Republican Party does. I will say this. I bet you Donald Trump will flip on this issue as soon as he finds a way to do it. But I don't know how everybody else in the party handles this at this point.
Well, look, I mean, Trump's been consistent in his inconsistency on abortion, right? I mean, he's the one person who refuses to be pinned down on any specific, timeline, any specific restrictions he would put in place. I mean, he has tried to remain strategically slippery on that point. I mean, were there any other big surprises for you? I feel like the other races that we kind of talked through yesterday went out largely like we thought they would. And Mississippi could have been a surprise. It wasn't. Bashir held on up until a week ago. That's what all the polls had indicated would probably be the place. The depth of the Virginia loss seemed to be the thing that if you're looking for a bellwether, particularly from the Republican side, you have to pay much closer attention to that. You know, I think there was a fuzzy red vested hug that sort of enveloped Republicans after Glenn Youngkin won, and this was not the hug anymore for Virginia.
It's interesting. You're right. You can sit here, if you want to be a Republican and make yourself feel better, you can say, well, Ohio was lost in August when the referendum was held that didn't raise the threshold. Well, Andy Bashir's an incumbent governor, and everybody just likes the guy, right? So you can write that one up. But in Virginia, Republicans actually had an aggressive message. They had more money than they had spent on an off-year election that they'd ever had before. There was a concerted effort. There was, a real attempt at finding a position on abortion that they thought wasn't as extreme as some of the other positions that had happened in other states. So that, to me, I'm with you. Virginia should be the cold water on the face of the GOP because they did everything they say you need to do for them to survive in a swing state on the issue of abortion, and it didn't work. 15 weeks, and I would have this debate with these Republican pollsters, Garrett, that would swear to me, no, 15 weeks. It's the compromise the public's okay with. And I want to say, okay's doing a lot of work here. Look, C+ can get you out.
There's clearly no magic number
C+ can get you out of high school, but I'd prefer to have an A, right? Meaning, yes, voters would accept 15 weeks if the choice is 0, but they would prefer what the law already is in Virginia.
So, Chuck, if we're going down the hallways to the green rooms to be here where all these candidates are getting ready for tonight's debate, how are last night's results, how is that abortion result affecting the way people approach us? I mean, I suppose if you're Ron DeSantis, there's not much more you can do, but somebody like Nikki Haley, who's tried to make it hard to pin her down, I mean, how do you see those results affecting what we'll watch on stage tonight?
I think it's going to feel as if they were living on another planet, because they're going to act as if those results didn't happen on an abortion issue. And why? I got one word for you: Iowa, right? They are going to be afraid to offend
social conservatives
on this issue. So, look, I think you're right. I think Nikki Haley has already given herself more room to roam on this issue. She says, look, you're not going to get a national law. This is going to be in the states. So she's probably given herself more flexibility. Ron DeSantis has painted himself into a corner on this. I think his position is unelectable.
Yeah, Tim Scott, too,
right? And then you have a guy like Tim Scott who's desperate to sort of break through tonight. And this issue is not one he's nimble at as one that would be easy to break through. So this could be a huge night for these challenger candidates, but on an issue that none of them are very good at presenting themselves on.
And Chuck, earlier you mentioned the idea that Republicans are trying to make themselves feel better with some of the messaging today. The White House has been pretty comfortably taking a victory lap today, saying that, voters have spoken. They want to hear from voters, not polls, and that the Biden brand is somehow fine. But, the exit polls, the CNN poll that shows only 25% of respondents say he had the stamina to sharpness to be president. Those Ohio polls. Right. I mean, all of that says, I think you could argue Democrats' brand is okay. Biden's brand is still seriously has some issues they got to look at here.
There's another poll out today in Wisconsin, and ready for this one, Garrett? I'm obsessed with this number.
Yeah.
It's all these matchups with Trump and Biden and Haley. But what was interesting, among those that somewhat disapprove of Joe Biden's job, he led Donald Trump by 19 points. So it is interesting, this sort of, and there's plenty of proof that Biden can be unpopular and win. Okay? There's no doubt about it. But it is interesting, he certainly is weaker than the Democratic brand or the Democratic campaign that was able to put itself together last night. Now, look, they can take comfort in the fact that Cameron in Kentucky closed with all things Biden, Reeves in Mississippi closed with all things anti-Biden, and it barely registered. Right? Like, I do think in that sense, the voters, and this may make Biden feel better, they are judging Biden separately than they are judging the Democratic Party.
What's funny, I think about another Kentucky politician, Mitch McConnell, whose whole MO when he runs elections is to be the second least popular guy in Kentucky. And I feel like that's the race we're getting into now, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever else emerges, will be the second least popular person in the country. That would be enough for Biden if the issue set is good for him otherwise. Chuck, we could do this all hour, but we got to move on. Great to see you for 2 days in a row. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, I'm too busy now. I can't. It's too much TV for a guy like me.
Yeah. Miami doesn't play till Saturday. You're fine.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.